Let me do a sound check real quick. Give me one moment. Whew, man. Okay. Do do a sound check. Okay. All right, we're good. How you doing, everybody? Who 186 back again with another video. Let me share this out real quick. Um, it's kind of late for me. It's about what, like almost 12 o'clock right now. Um, I mean, I'm gonna play some more than like I'm gonna play some MLB 18, and then I'm gonna go to bed. Um, yeah. So pretty much, yeah. Let me share this on Twitter, and then I'm gonna share this on Google Plus, and then we should be ready to go. Obviously, you guys see the topic up front. I'm gonna get to that in a second. I want to kind of share some other stuff real quick. Um, cause some gaming stuff, cause I've made, downloaded some stuff, made some purchases. So, yeah, so I'll talk about that first before I do this. So, man, all right, stuff. All right, and then let me just do one more, and then I should be ready to get started with everything. Ah, all right, so I'm almost done here. Anyways, hopefully everyone's doing okay. Me, I'm doing straight. I mean, I've had enjoyed my couple days off, and then tomorrow's kind of like back to the grind. But hopefully everyone's doing okay. Let me turn this down real quick. I enjoyed my couple days off. So, all right. So before I start with the main topic, let me just discuss a couple things that I've been doing real quick. I bought 3 games in the past month. MLB 18 the show, Far Cry 5, and God of War. Now, obviously, I've been playing a lot of MLB 18 the show. Like obviously, there's lots of great improvements into the game. The one downside, real quick, the one downside is there's no season mode. Now, there's a franchise mode. They're different. Like franchise mode is more in depth. You kind of you do more stuff like you'll draft players, you'll scout players, you set prices to like to the in stadium stuff like food and merchandise and stuff like that. Lots of other stuff. Like you're pretty much the owner of the team, basically. Season mode is basically you just control a team and you play out an entire season. They took that mode out of MLB 18 the show. I wasn't a fan of it at first. But ultimately with franchise mode, you can pretty much turn off all the stuff. You can kind of set it up to where your main focus is just the team, and that's what I did. So it's not a big deal. Even though I don't like the trend that's setting, it's not a big deal to me. As far as everything else goes, the game, obviously the game I think is better. It looks better than ever. It plays great. I think there's definitely a lot of added touches to the presentation that have been great. So I'm very happy with that. And I did say earlier that I wasn't gonna upgrade. I was gonna upgrade from 17, but with the batting stance creator, which I dabbled in, I decided to buy 18, and so far I'm liking it. Far Cry 5. This is my first Far Cry game. This is the reason I think the reason why I bought it was because it was a game that intrigued me. It was something that kind of intrigued me a lot more than the previous ones. Even though some of the previous ones look cool, I don't know. There's something about this one that interested me more than anything else. So I decided to buy it. I have it on PS4, and so far I like it. I'm not that far into it, but I've been playing it. Yeah, I've been playing quite a bit of it over the past couple of days, trying to get used to the controls and getting used to the game mechanics and everything like that. Since it is my first game, so far I like it. I like it. It's a good game. I'm very interested to see how the story goes. I've heard mixed results about the story, but I haven't been spoiled and nothing like that. But I do like the story so far. I am interested in the antagonist and stuff like that, and everything going on with him and his family and stuff like that. So, I'm gonna keep playing that. God of War I haven't played yet. I'm gonna play. Hopefully I'll start it. Tomorrow. If not, I should be able to start it by the end of the week. To me, I kind of play games in a bit of a rotation. I have my main game, which is MLB 18. I play that. I normally play MLB once a day, and then and then after that, whenever I don't feel like playing that, I'll play one of the other games I have. And remember, I have also on the Xbox, so I just downloaded Super Mega Baseball 2. I had my first match. I would upload. I'm gonna try to upload some video on Twitter, and I'll probably put a video or two in on YouTube also. But the problem is that Upload Studio is still trash. The Upload Studio is complete and utter garbage. It's one thing if it's not better than Share Factory. You know what I mean? Share Factory to me is excellent. It's one thing. It doesn't have to be better than Share Factory, but we're not talking about being, Share Factory being up here and Upload Studio being like a notch below that. The Upload Studio is straight up garbage. Straight up garbage. I don't understand why. All the improvement that Microsoft has made, all the stuff that they're doing, with backward compatibility, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. All the stuff they've done with the just now they just now allow people to easily share, you know, screenshots and gameplay straight from the Xbox One to Twitter. That was been one of the features that have been grossly missing from the console. They now do it, and with pictures is perfectly fine. You know what I mean? 'Cause I don't have to log into Upload Studio. With videos, it's harder because Upload Studio is garbage. It's complete another garbage. Like I have a clip, one simple clip that I want to do to share on Twitter, right? With Upload Studio is easy. I go into I know not with Share Factory is easy. I go into Share Factory, you know what I mean? I pick the video I want, and then I'm able to trim it easily and see what I'm doing. See the progression of me trimming the video, and then I render it, and then I upload it. With Upload Studio, like when I'm trying to trim the video, normally they'll have like a preview, right? On the top screen. They'll show you where the progression of where you're trimming. Doesn't do that. At least this time around didn't do that. So I click on preview and it's just a still screen. I hear the sound, I hear the noises, but the video's not going. The video's frozen. You know what I mean? So how am I supposed to know what I'm trimming and what I'm not trimming? It's fucking dumb. It's not just that. It's this other thing that this fucking thing can't do. Like it just doesn't make any sense. It makes no fucking sense whatsoever. What's the point of having a fucking DVR and having this stupid ass fucking app if it don't fucking work half the time? It's so annoying. And you could talk about your backward compatibility. You could talk about all the other bullshit that the system can do. And listen, I like the Xbox One, but Upload Studio is completely another trash, and it's unacceptable. 4 or 5 years after launch, this fucking thing fucking don't work. Trash. Anyways, and that shit pissed me off. It pisses me off because I have gameplay that I want to like. Okay, with Halo, right? and this is more towards the system itself and how it captures footage, right? With Halo, right? I made this I had this one cool kill where I killed two guys back from behind via melee, right? So I try to save it. So I press since it doesn't have a dedicated share button. I press the big X in the middle. Nothing happens, right? Nothing happens, right? So I press it again. Then what it does, it'll pop in, and the menu will pop in and pop out again because it registers me pressing the button twice. So I'm like, okay, whatever, whatever. So I press it again. It responds. I press click I click X, which is save gameplay, right? The fucking thing only saved 2 seconds of gameplay because apparently when I clicked it twice, because the first time it didn't fucking respond, it kind of ended. It kind of went back into the cycle of 5 minute gameplay. Now I do think in Halo they do have your past matches recorded. I hope that's true. But regardless, but even with that, I still have to use fucking Upload Studio, which is trash. But it is what it is, man. I mean, I can't really not really much else I can do. But speaking of the Xbox One, I downloaded Super Mega Baseball. I'm liking it a lot. It's kind of like it definitely is cartoonish on the outside. But there is some sim type things to it. You know what I mean? Like I think the fielding I think is done very well. What else? Let me see what else is there. Not I just feel like the game it feels very there definitely is a good sim type vibe to it. You know what I mean? Definitely you have some arcadey stuff in it too, but it's not overboard. You know what I mean? I think that's really good. The way all the teams are fake, all the teams are fake, and the players are fake too. The players have some cool names, very old school. Kind of reminds me of the old King Griffey Jr. game where they had these guys and they have these like this cool fake baseball names like Sam Slugger and shit like that. So and Super Mega Baseball is like that too. So it's free on Xbox. On Xbox, games with gold is free. So if you only own an Xbox and you want to play baseball, I actually do think it's a good I actually think it's a very good game to play, especially if you want a sim type game, somewhat sim type game. That's definitely is the better baseball game outside of that and RBI 18. That game's garbage. Super Mega Baseball is the better game. So if you're on Xbox, I give it a go. They also announced today that Burnout Revenge is a backwards compatibility game today. And if you know my channel, you know my stance on backwards compatibility. I think it's a good thing, but it's not something that to me should be the end all be all of what makes a console great. You know what I mean? With that said, Burnout Revenge is one of the few games that if I had a chance to play it today, I would play it. I would buy the game, and that's essentially what I did today. I went to a GameStop. They didn't have it. They had Burnout Paradise, and Burnout Paradise to me, like me personally, that's not Burnout. Like the way that I played, 3 and 2 and Revenge. That's not Burnout Paradise to me. Is not Burnout. It's to me personally, it feels like Need for Speed. Um, it feels like Need for Speed that encourages crashing. You know what I mean? Which is funny because the last Need for Speed game that I liked was made by the creators of Burnout. So that's a bit odd. But I mean, Paradise. I'm sure Paradise is a great game. It's just to me like I just think that in some cases simplicity is better. So and that's why I like Revenge so much, and that's why I bought it. So I went to GameStop, I looked for it, couldn't find it. Then I went to a pawn shop, local pawn shop nearby. They had it there, so I bought it. Like it was $17, so it was like not a big deal. So I have Burnout Revenge. It's only this technically is the second Xbox 360 game I have in my library. I also have a I have what do you call it? Soul Calibur, which is technically the I believe it's the Dreamcast version, but obviously the game came out on Xbox 360 through some type of collection or something like that. So I have that and I have Burnout Revenge. So there you go. That's pretty much it for everything else. Like I said, hopefully I'll get to start God of War soon. But as of right now, let's talk about the main topic at hand. Right now, let me see if I can I screen share? Hold on a second. I could swear I could. Where's the option at? Hmm. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on a second. Give me one moment. I'm trying to look for the screen share. Okay, there we go. All right, I know that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Um. Okay, screen share. Okay, share. Okay, hold on. Let me. Okay. All right. Let me get to this. Let me get to this. To this picture right here. Okay. You guys are seeing this on the screen right now, right? From Ryu Kirito, right? Games should not define the console you have. UI, power, online security, unique qualities, etc. to the console themselves should. Okay. When I first saw this, I went nuts. I went nuts. This is um one of the very few common times when I got truly got triggered. Because when normally when you see Twitter, when I'm on Twitter, you see a lot of the fanboy bullshit going on back and forth. I for the most part I stay out of it unless it's like something really egregious, and then I'll make a comment or whatever. This I saw this and I lost my fucking mind. I don't know why. You know what I mean? Like I don't know why, but I lost my fucking mind because for multiple reasons. One, I know for a fact that this dude's lying. I know for a fact this dude. I don't know this dude. I've never interacted with this dude. I don't know if he has a because this is on YouTube. This is on an Xbox podcast. Um, so I don't know if he has a Twitter account or nothing like that. But you know the reason why, but I know for a fact he's lying, right? Because I'll get to that in a second. Hold on. I know for a fact he's lying. One, two, he's full of shit because that's not true at all. Anybody who tells you that other things outside of gaming is what makes not one what makes a console great, and two what defines the console generation are full of shit. Now that doesn't mean that. Now let me just say this: it doesn't mean necessarily that that cannot be the case. You know, what I mean, you look at the generation, look at last generation, right? What was some of the thing that defined that generation, right? It was Game Pass, the online Game Pass that was there. You also saw the first time that these consoles had updates like game day one patches and stuff like that. All that stuff that were kind of like something that were known primarily for PC gaming infiltrated console gaming, right? And that's true. You know what I mean? Like you have these situations where other things were presented within the console generation. I understand. Here's where the bullshit starts, right? And this guy clearly is an Xbox dude, and this is the only people who say this are Xbox dudes, right? What what they're trying to do is they're trying to completely diminish, and all this stuff is done to diminish the success of what the PS4 is, right? And what he did, and this dummy didn't realize that at the time, he validated everybody who said that the Xbox One has no games, and I don't believe in that notion. Not at all. I don't believe in that notion at all. If you have an Xbox, there are tons of games to play on it. Like me currently, I have 12 games on it. There's other games that I have that I've either deleted because I've either finished it or didn't like. Right, but I have 12 games on the system. There are many other games. Most of the games that I have are multiplats. All those games can be played on the Xbox One. Right, the notion that the Xbox One has no games is bullshit. Just like when people said that the PS4 having no games was bullshit. All of this bullshit. All of this is just fanboy fodder. What they're talking about is the exclusives, right? That's what they're talking about, right? That's when people say they have no game, but the system has games, right? And when you say something this fucking stupid, considering the quote drought that the Xbox One has had and stuff like that, all this dude is doing is damage controlling for the console, and there's no reason to do it. There's no reason to do it. It's like there's no reason for you to damage control for the system. If you think the system's great, that's perfectly fine. But you can't. This fucking idiot thinks that wants you to believe that the UI, which in my opinion the PS4 UI is better, right? And when it comes to power, when you think about it, the base PS4 is stronger than the base Xbox One. He's talking about the X. The only Xbox that is stronger than any version of the PS4 is the X over the Pro. Online security, right? And everyone goes back to the 11 hack that Sony dealt with, right? And considering that, when I was living with my cousin, Xbox Live for him was down for a couple weeks. You know what I mean? That didn't happen out of nowhere. You know what I mean? But unique qualities and etc. is what makes the console themselves should be. No, this is what he wants. And at the end of the day, console games will always be the driving force of the system. That's it. Hey, what's going on, shooter? How you doing, man? Um, the games will always be the driving force behind the console. It doesn't fucking matter what console it is. The games will always be the driving force behind that. And if it's not, then I'm sorry, but your system sucks. The system that you have sucks. Right? Let's start. Let's. We can even go back all the way to the Atari. I'll go back to the fucking Nintendo. Right? What made the Nintendo such a memorable console, right? You can talk about the fact that people will argue, oh well, Nintendo saved gaming with the original Nintendo entertainment system. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, whether it did or didn't, I don't give a shit. The fact is that the system had great games, legendary games. The first three Mario games, Zelda one, and I believe Zelda two was also on the system also, right? You had pro wrestling. You had what else do you have? I think that was there a Turtles game on the system too. I don't remember, but you had a bunch of great games on there, right? Then you look at the next generation, right? The Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis. If you want to add the Neo Geo to that generation, I believe it's part of that generation. What made that generation special, right? What made it special? You could talk about all the sound chips of both systems. The fact that that you can have two versions of the same game be completely different with select titles. And but ultimately, what made those systems great were the games. Whether it was playing Sonic 1, 2, and 3, Sonic and Knuckles, Kid Chameleon, Road Rage. I mean, what? No, Road Rash. My bad. Road Rash. I believe Road Rash. Road Rash, Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, or at least on the Nintendo side, you had Donkey Kong, you had Mario, Mario World, you had fucking um, what else do you have? Link to the Past. All these games are what defined that console generation. It was the games, and if it wasn't the games, then I'm sorry that console sucks. Same thing goes with the N64 and the PS1. People can talk about the stupid controller that the N64 had. Um, you can talk about how Sony got into the console space and everything like that. All that stuff matters. Like all that stuff matters. But the thing that matters most were the games. That's the only thing that mattered. And to see someone like this clown say that it's proof that these dudes are nothing more than just fanboys. That's all they are. All they are just stupid fanboys who want to quote damage control for their favorite console. That's it. That is it, man. Like I don't give a damn what. Like okay, let's look at the PS. Let's look at the last generation, right? The people. Let's look at the 360, right? The 360 was, in my opinion, the height of what console gaming was when it came to online gaming, right? You had, you had the online infrastructure that Microsoft built, and like you look at how Call of Duty 4 blew up, and you look at Halo 3 years and stuff like that, and you have all these archives of people, talking online, with the trash talking and stuff, especially in Call of Duty. I did that a lot in Call of Duty, and to say that online gaming didn't wasn't a major factor in that generation would be stupid. It clearly was. But let's not fucking kid ourselves here. The only thing the thing that mattered the most in that generation were the games, right? It wasn't just having the online, because having online don't mean shit if the games are no good. You know what I mean? Like let's be real. Having a system do this and do that don't mean nothing if the games aren't good, right? And then you look at the 360, especially when you compare it to the PS3 the first couple years. It was the only place where you could play a game like Mass Effect, which I believe was single player. I don't know if it had multiplayer in it or not. I really should look this up. It was the first time you played the first Mass Effect game. It was the only place to play BioShock, at least on console, right? You look at that. You look at obviously you look at the success of Halo 3, the original Gears games, and obviously Call of Duty. And like you also had games like Blue Dragon, Lost Odyssey, and shit like that. Like the games, especially in the first half of the Xbox 360 life cycle, the games was the lifeblood of that system. It was. And I don't care about whatever feature it had or didn't have or whatever. What made that console great was the fucking games. And so much so, and if it wasn't that, and if the game didn't define a console generation, then you wouldn't have all these fucking people making a big deal about backwards compatibility. How is it that that you know how is it that granted, I understand backwards compatibility is technically a feature, but it's a feature where you're playing games. You know what I mean? It's introducing the older games to the platform, right? And how can you guys sit there and talk about all this other bullshit that don't matter? Like UI don't matter. Power by and large don't matter, because frankly, you look at the PS4 is producing better looking games than the exclusive on the Xbox One. That's in my opinion. But all the other shit don't matter. What matters are the games. And if it didn't matter, and if the game didn't matter, you guys wouldn't be fucking going crazy over fucking what happened last E3, where the biggest ovation was what? Backwards compatibility games. The Xbox games, right? Those same games that no one gives a shit about those games. It's about the features, right? But what got the biggest ovation? Games. You know what I'm saying? Like that that's what this is all about, people. You know what I mean? And I understand features can be something that can add to a generation. It can affect the generation. I completely understand that. You look at the way that the controller evolved with Nintendo. You look at the importance of multimedia when it came to the PS1 and PS2, when it came to CD playback and DVD playback, and then with the PS3 with the Blu-ray playback. You know what I mean? I'm not saying these things don't matter. I'm not saying these things can't be a factor. But ultimately, what was the one common thread between the PS1, PS2, and PS3? Legendary games. You know what I mean? It was the first Tomb Raider games, whether it was Crash, Spyro, Tekken, Grand Theft Auto, whether it was God of War, whether it was Jack and Dexter, Ratchet and Clank, whether it was fucking Uncharted, whether it was Infamous, whether it was what other big game out there, third God of War, stuff like that. Legendary games is what made PlayStation what PlayStation is today. It was the games, right? And to me, that is the most important thing because it didn't matter if the game had online, no online, had UI. None of that shit matters. What matters most is the game, right? Is it good to have all the other stuff? Yes, it is. And and some features I don't think I can like the way like okay, for example, the way Nintendo has their thing structured, I can't play their console. I can't play it. You know what I mean? Because they're too far behind. And but the reason why I can't use their system now because they're too far behind is because their games don't interest me anymore. You see, if you have a great game library, everything else can be ignored. I can ignore like the GameCube. I can ignore. I hated the GameCube controller. I didn't like the design of it. You know what I mean? It looked like a fucking Fisher Price toy. I hated that controller. You know what I mean? I didn't like the controller. Um, everything else about the console was fine, but the games are what mattered to me the most about that system. The original Xbox, right? The reason why I like the original Xbox so much is because it made the games that I like playing, at least some of the games I like playing on my PS2, it ran better on there, right? Plus, you had, yeah, I mean, exclusively, it didn't really have, to me, it didn't have much exclusively. I'll admit that. It didn't really have much for me to play exclusively. But it played a ton of games, and they also had a ton of exclusives on there too. So I know a lot of people like those games, right? But obviously, that was the first console that I would say its features kind of outweighed the game library. But even still, even with that, even with my personal taste, what was the game that essentially made the Xbox platform? It was Halo. And also, Ghost Recon, like playing Ghost Recon on the Xbox One was a fucking blast. You know what I mean? But Halo is what made that console great. You know what I mean? Which is a game. It's not a feature. Not none of the other bullshit. Like it's the games. It's games, right? And that's kind of the point of this video. Like all the other stuff is fine. Like you make advancements in gaming. Like that stuff is good. Like I'm not saying they're not good, but if the game library stinks, nothing else matters, right? Did I give a shit if I can play my Wii? If I can play a Wii U? If I can play a game while I'm taking a shit in the bathroom? No, I didn't give a shit because the game library stunk. You know what I mean? Like I didn't. I hated the game library on the system, and they had, and even still, there, even with that, they still had some amazing games on there. Just not enough of them. You know what I mean? Look at the Dreamcast didn't fail because of its game library. It had a fantastic game library. The problem is that everything else the company itself was crumbling from all the shitty decisions that they made in the past. That even as great as Dreamcast was, you know, it couldn't support it. But I guarantee you today, if Sega announced a Sega Dreamcast classic system or what have you, I guarantee you people are gonna hop on that shit with the quickness. Why? It's not because of the controller. It's not because of the controller. It's not because of his UI. It wasn't because of his anemic online infrastructure at online network at the time. No, none of that shit matters. Why would people go nuts over a new Dreamcast? Because the games. That's the only thing. At the end of the day, if your console can't do nothing else, if it can play killer games, killer exclusives, has a killer library, that's the only thing that matters the most. That's the only thing that matters. Everything else is just frosting. Well, frosting is my favorite part of a cake, but no, but it is true. Everything else is added frosting. The main thing is the games. That's it. That's the only thing that fucking matters in a console generation. It's the only thing that fucking matters in when it comes to making your console great is the games. That's it. Let me pop back into Google Hangout. So yeah, man. So what defines a console generation? What defines a console? What defines a console generation is games. That's it. That's it, man. Like, that's pretty much it, man. And it's unfortunate that there's only one group of fanboys that are saying this. And to be fair, it's not a lot of them. So I don't want to go crazy over it. But it's just those few select Xbox fanboys who by saying that bought ironically enough they bought into this narrative that the Xbox One has no games. That's why they're saying what they're saying now when it comes to it. Now again, obviously if you want to go feature to feature, some would argue that the Xbox One has more stuff going for it than the PS4. I mean that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But at the end of the day, and this is coming from someone who owns both, the reason why the PS4 is my preferred platform is because it has more games and it has better games. That's it. I don't give a fuck if the Xbox One can do this and do that. Like, I don't, dude. Even if the fucking system can open up and suck my cock, the only thing that matters to me are the games. That's it. That's the only thing that matters. And to be frank, that should be the one thing that matters to all gamers, regardless of your gaming preference. So, hmm, that's weird. But anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say about this. Like, oh yeah, hold on, I do have one more thing I have to mention. All right, so like, you saw the comment or whatever. I was actually gonna go into a little rant about this one dude named Dealer Gaming. But I he made a tweet and I replied to him with the games were the only thing that matter. The only thing that matters most is games, and that's by country mile. And he actually agreed with me, so I'm not gonna go hard on him or whatever. I had a little back and forth with Kid Smooth, nothing major about it, nothing like it was, nothing mad or nothing like that. So shout out to Kid Smooth. Um, and then I was listening to a podcast that involved Jay Fonzarelli, who I believe I follow on Twitter. Who I'm cool with. I like Jay Fonz. I like Jay Fonz. Um, I think he was saying that I don't know. He said something about if all things were created equal, features should be more important, and that's obviously true, obviously. But how is a company, especially a company like Sony, who admittedly do not have the same track record when it comes to I'll probably say creating feature rich consoles like like Microsoft does. How do you combat that? With the thing that matters most, which is games. So I don't know. They had a weird conversation about that. I don't think I'm gonna get into it now. It's 12:30, so I'm trying to get some last bit of gaming in before I go to bed. That's pretty much it for the video. This is Movie 186. I'm out. Peace.